Jin was an investigative journalist, a woman who lived for uncovering hidden truths. While many reporters chased headlines, her obsession was with stories people had forgotten or wished to forget. One ordinary evening, her inbox lit up with an anonymous email. Attached was a yellowed news clipping from the year 1986. The article spoke of something unimaginable, a secluded island in Korea where a massive complex had been built, and inside its walls, human beings were locked away to participate in brutal, real-life torture games. Even more disturbing, the note claimed that high-ranking officials were secretly involved, sending dissenters and enemies to the island to be silenced forever. The email even included coordinates. Curiosity turned to obsession, and Jin resolved to see the truth with her own eyes. She hired a small boat and made her way to the island, carrying only essentials: a flashlight, printed maps, and her determination. The moment she stepped ashore, her fully charged phone shut off completely, as though the island itself rejected modern technology. Braving the thick forest, she pressed on, following the coordinates. A storm erupted. Wind howled, trees bent, and rain lashed the earth. Amid the chaos, chilling screams echoed through the jungle. Thinking someone was being attacked, she ran toward the sound. The cries stopped, replaced by an eerie silence. In the shadows of the trees, she thought she saw a thin girl staring directly at her. When she called out, the figure vanished. A wave of dizziness overcame her, and everything went black. When Jin regained consciousness, she was no longer in the forest but inside a dark, damp chamber. Strange noises rumbled beyond the door. Pushing it open, she found herself in a vast hall filled with 50 to 60 people. Their hands and feet were tied, and armed guards in masks circled them. In the center, a bizarre game was underway. Each prisoner held a spoon in their mouth with a lemon balanced on it. They were forced to race across the room without dropping it. The rules were merciless. When one boy's lemon rolled to the ground, a guard raised his weapon and shot him dead. Jin's heart nearly stopped as she realized this was no metaphor. The games were real. Her eyes then fell upon a familiar figure among the players, the same thin girl she had glimpsed in the forest. The girl struggled, and her lemon tumbled across the floor, landing right at Jin's feet. Before she could react, a deafening gunshot echoed, and the girl collapsed lifeless before her. Horror struck Jin as the girl's body twitched, then slowly lifted its head. Her eyes opened, glowing white, and her face twisted grotesquely. In that instant, the guards and other players melted away like shadows, replaced by the corpses of those who had been executed. They rose one by one, their skin blackened, eyes pale and empty. Led by the girl, the dead advanced on Jin. Terrified, she bolted back to the room, slammed the door, and listened as heavy pounding rattled the wood. Then, silence. Gathering her courage, she opened the door again. The hall was empty, nothing but dust and bloodstains from decades past. It dawned on her that she had seen the restless souls of those tortured to death in the games. She snapped photos with her camera and searched for a way out, but before leaving, she caught one last glimpse of the thin girl. This time, the figure dissolved into thin air. Back at home, Jin began preparing her report, but 3 questions tormented her. Who had sent the email that led her to the island? How had she mysteriously awakened inside the complex after collapsing in the forest? And most haunting of all, who was the girl who appeared again and again before her? Days later, while reviewing old letters from readers, she found one from a year earlier. A man had begged for her help in finding his fiancée, Kim, who had gone missing. He explained they had traveled to an island together, where she disappeared without a trace, despite countless police reports. Enclosed was a photograph. When Jin saw the face, she froze. It was the same girl she had seen in the forest, in the game, and among the dead. But how? The games were said to have taken place in 1986, 3 decades earlier. Could the games still be happening in the present? Horrified, Soo-jin contacted the police. A search operation was launched, and eventually, the hidden complex was found. At first, it appeared abandoned. But when they dug beneath the ground, they unearthed over 1,000 skeletons. DNA analysis revealed that one of them belonged to Kim, the missing woman. The government acknowledged nothing beyond the skeletal remains. No culprits were identified, and the case was quietly buried. Soo-jin fought for justice, staging protests and demanding answers, but her efforts were crushed. Only months later, she died in a suspicious car accident. Some believe her death was no accident, that she too was silenced for getting too close to the truth. And perhaps even now, the games continue in secret, hidden from the world, claiming new victims in the name of power and cruelty.